The story of Emmet Till is one that is still raising concerns after close to 7 decades. FAMU Law Dean Deidré Keller examined the Till case and his life and joins us now. It's so good to see you again.
It's always good to see you, Kimber.
Tell us why, 7 decades, tell us why this story is still one that is being discussed.
Right, so I think Emmet Till's story is still relevant to events happening right now. So when we think about the death of Trayvon Martin, for example, we're coming up on 10 years since Trayvon Martin was killed at the end of this month. And think about the circumstances in which Trayvon Martin was killed, right? They are not all that different from the circumstances in which Emmet Till was killed, which is to say Trayvon Martin was basically hunted down, right, and killed on suspicion of something. And Emmet Till, was taken from the home of his family in Money, Mississippi, and killed on the suspicion of flirting with a white woman. Mm-hmm. And so 60 years, right, nearly 60 years separate those events, and yet they have these striking similarities. And then, of course, the case of Ahmaud Arbery in Georgia, who was running through a neighborhood and killed on suspicion of something. Mm-hmm. Right? These cases are all inherently linked, right? The violence that arises from mere suspicion mm-hmm. continues to be an issue. And so I think Till's murder continues to be instructive, right? This is why it's so important to know and understand our history, because when we do that, what we realize is that these are not isolated incidents, right? The suspicion surrounding Black boys and men is in the DNA, if you will, of a society that started out as a slave society, right? These are related incidents, and putting them in historical context, I think, is really important.
I agree. And I just want to, for the benefit of the audience,
Sure.
Tell us how old Emmet Till was when he was murdered and kind of what made that story such a big thing even
Right.
now.
Yeah, so Emmet Till was a teenager from Chicago, and his mother sent him to the South to family for the summer. Very ordinary, right, set of circumstances. And he was accused of whistling at a white woman in Money. He was taken from his bed and lynched. Ultimately, the killers were tried and acquitted by an all-white jury. The reason, though, that we still know Emmet Till's name 70 years on is because his mother, Mamie Till, insisted that her son's casket be open. Mm-hmm. She invited the Black press to come take pictures at his service. And so Emmet Till's killing became a catalyst for the civil rights movement. Mm-hmm. And, Rosa Parks speaks directly about Emmet Till in talking about what inspired her to kick off the Montgomery bus boycott, right? So I think we still know Emmet Till's name today because of the courage of Mamie Till, who would not let her son die in vain.
And the Department of Justice reopened the investigation. Was anyone ever convicted?
No one was ever convicted. So the department just closed its investigation on December 6th of 2021, finding no way to even prosecute any living person. And part of the story there is the Department of Justice is limited to prosecutions under statutes that existed at the time of the alleged crime. And in 1955, when Till was killed, there was no hate crime statute.
Wow.
And so that's part of the issue. The other part of the issue is we are nearly 7 decades later. And the two people who were initially tried are both dead, have died in the interim. So, part of the reason we have statutes of limitations is because witnesses die off, move, become unavailable. And so these crimes get harder and harder to prosecute as time goes on.
Makes sense. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I want to emphasize the need to really teach this history. So I asked my son this morning, he's 9, if he'd ever heard of Emmett Till, and he had not, right? And I think it's really important for us to educate our kids about this history because it will help them to understand things that are happening right now.
That's right. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to chat with you, to see you, and we appreciate this reminder of where we are and this education about Emmett Till.
Thanks, Kimber.
The Emmet Till murder case of August 1955 remains an unsolved case and with no justice served or closure for his family. The Department of Justice remains committed to identifying and investigating racially motivated crimes of violence committed decades ago through its Cold Case Initiative and through the Emmet Till Unsolved Civil Rights Crime Act and its reauthorization. Those who have information related to an unsolved or unvindicated cold case that occurred on or before December 31st, 1979, and have reason to believe are hate crimes or crimes that would violate other civil rights law should contact the Civil Rights Division's Cold Case Unit.